So when the synopsis for Kagurabachi's manga was initially released online, a lot of people didn't expect it to take off as a series. Memes were created left and right, and with a simple looking plot and a tone that people thought was corny, it wasn't expected to succeed. Not me though, as I had faith. I have an eye for talent and I scouted Kagurabachi from the jump. The memes, the trolling, all of the Kagurabachin times. None of that fazed me because I saw potential, and a year and a half later, the community has become one of the best when it comes to shonen manga, and every chapter is expected to be really good. The first Japanese volume sold out in just hours in some stores and days for most, and had restocks, which is a good sign for new manga. The manga became one of the fastest to be published in English, alongside Masashi Kishimoto's Samurai 8, but what solidified that it would stay around was its win in the 2024 Next Manga Awards. With previous winners like Oshinoko and Undead Unluck getting anime adaptations, it was just a matter of time before an anime. And thanks to leaks, it was announced to be in talks after only 10 months since the first chapter. But at first, there actually wasn't a confirmed studio. It was actually a race by studios for the title, with 4 major studios supposedly leading the charge. Those studios were Cloverworks, Pierrot, TMS Entertainment, and MAPPA. What I personally believed was that MAPPA would animate it, as they worked on big series like Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man and did them justice. Those works gave the same feel as Kagurabachi did, so it wasn't a surprise if MAPPA did take it. But the biggest problem was MAPPA had too much on their plate already. No! They released an anime on average every season. Alongside their consistent animation, there's bound to be one that misses, and majority thought Hell's Paradise didn't get good treatment, so why take the risk with Kagurabachi? This is when some news came out. According to an inside source, the anime producer for Kagurabachi expressed the risk of having a studio that's already working on major works and thought of trying out a different studio that looked good. So with one sentence, the studio predicted to win was out of the race. It was really anyone's game as people waited to see who would get their hands on this goldmine, but people were still looking for a big studio to take it, and out of nowhere came a studio called Cygames Pictures. And now Kagurabachi is set to be produced by Shochiku, Cyber Agent, and Shueisha, and animated by Cygames Pictures, a studio founded less than 10 years ago, and it was actually unfamiliar to me and fans of the series. So now the main question is, who are they? Cygames Pictures is a branch-off company established in 2016 from a Japanese video game development studio named Cygames, established in 2011 by Cyber Agent. The development company's first big hit was Rage of Bahamut, a digital collectible card game that gained popularity in Japan in 2011, getting an anime 3 years later by MAPPA. But their biggest game was Grand Blue Fantasy, a JRPG released in 2014 that also got an anime. The success of these works helped Cygames create its own anime production division to produce anime for the gaming IPs, but also originals. In 2017, their first anime was released, Blade Runner Blackout 2022, a 16-minute OVA directed by Shinichiro Watanabe that received okay reception but wasn't a bad start. In 2018, they helped produce Uma Musume, with PA Works being the studio working on it, but it wasn't until 2019 that Cygames Pictures would come out with their first fully done anime solely made by them. Mysteria Friends was a 10-episode TV short that was an adaptation of the Mysteria Academy event in the Rage of Bahamut game. It had mixed reception from fans of the game and people who experienced it solely through the anime. But the good news was that it had promising production value. The color palette was good and the backgrounds were beautiful. It was just a story that had failed Cygames. They went on to make more shows, and no, it wasn't just TV shorts, with Princess Connect and the Idolmaster Cinderella Girls being series they focused on, but the one that showed their full potential was Uma Musume. Cygames made an ONA in 2023 and a movie in 2024 that were incredibly well received. The adaptations were praised for their faithfulness to the light novel source, along with the production quality being amazing. With beautiful sound design and action animation by animators like Shu Sugita and Takeshi Mainami, who create the best cuts from the movie and show, and work on multiple titles like My Hero Academia, Chainsaw Man, and One Piece. Cygames proved themselves that they could provide a team to properly adapt Kagurabachi's high action and creative fights, which is the most important when looking forward to the adaptation. So what are we going to see in season 1 of the anime? Since the anime was just announced and assuming production has started, it won't be until the average 2 years it takes an anime to finish production that we'll get to see it, but we can still guess what we'll see. To me, the best option would be to make a 20-something episode season that adapts the first 46 chapters of the manga. This ending would leave season 1 with the big antagonist already defeated and the idea for the next arc being set for the viewer. Kagurabachi also isn't dialogue heavy when it gets into its arcs, so Cygames could take advantage of that and extend fight scenes. But if Cygames really wanted to, they could adapt 2.5 chapters per episode, ending around chapter 60, which would set up the later parts of the Sword Bear assassination arc. I think the first option is better, as around chapter 46 would be the end of the Rakuzaichi and Chihiro meeting the higher ups, setting up the next arc. And since it'll take 2 years for it to be fully animated and released, the manga will have between 50 to 100 more chapters out, which can hopefully quickly lead to a new greenlit season, and it'll be a success from there if Cygames cooks. But let me know what you guys think. Will Kagurabachi flop? Is Cygames gonna cook? We'll see in the next 2 years. Any support would be appreciated, so please like and subscribe if you'd like to. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace!